The late October sun cast long shadows through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Hawthorne's corner office as he reviewed the final contract of the day. The deal would secure another major client for his consulting firm, the third this quarter. Not bad for someone who'd started with nothing but determination and a second-hand laptop 15 years ago. His phone buzzed with a message from Lauren. "Working late again. You must not know how to delegate." Hawthorne's jaw tightened. Lauren, his wife's business mentor who had appeared in their lives 6 months ago, had always given him pause, but Sterling had dismissed his concerns as jealousy. "Just finishing up," he typed back. "Should be home in 30. No response. Typical these days. The drive home took him past the small office building where he'd opened his first business location. Now his company occupied 3 floors in a downtown high-rise, earned through years of careful planning and strategic growth. Sterling had been proud of him then. Before Lauren started filling her head with tales of instant wealth and exotic vacations, the house was dark when he pulled into the driveway of their colonial-style home. No welcoming lights, no dinner smells wafting from the kitchen. The silence felt heavy, oppressive. Wrong, Hawthorne thought, as he loosened his tie and made his way to his study. His footsteps echoed on the hardwood floors. The room was almost exactly as he'd left it that morning. His desk, usually pristine, had one item out of place: Lauren's tablet, which Sterling guarded zealously these days. Seeing it here in his private space sent a warning prickle down his spine. As he approached, the notification light pulsed steadily, like a heartbeat, and the screen lit up at his touch. Unlocked, the tablet revealed an open message thread. "Looking stunning in that dress, darling." Lauren's message read, "Your husband's probably still at his little office, counting pennies while we enjoy the finer things." A photo accompanied the text. Sterling, in a black designer dress Hawthorne had never seen, posed against the backdrop of an upscale hotel suite. The timestamp showed it was sent 2 hours ago. He wouldn't know what to do with a woman in a dress like this anyway. All those years of playing it safe have made him boring, he thought as his fingers tightened on the tablet's edge. Scrolling up, he saw more photos and messages. A fresh betrayal spanning months. "When are you going to leave that small-time businessman of yours? You deserve someone who can keep up with your expensive tastes. Soon, darling." Another message read, "Watching him scramble to please me has its own entertainment value. Does he still think we're just having business meetings? The fool probably believes you're networking while we're drinking champagne in Paris." The front door opened downstairs, followed by the distinct click of Sterling's heels on marble. The sound grew closer, accompanied by the rustle of shopping bags and the faint scent of an unfamiliar perfume. Sterling's voice carried up the stairs. "Your car's in the driveway. Are you home already?" Hawthorne remained seated, waiting as her footsteps approached. At the doorway, Sterling appeared wearing the same black dress from the photo. The physical proof of her deception made something shift inside him. "There you are," she said, her smile faltering as she noticed the tablet in his hands. "What are you doing with my tablet?" "I think the better question," Hawthorne replied in a dangerously calm tone, "is what were you doing with Lauren in a hotel room 2 hours ago?" For a brief moment, the color drained from Sterling's face before her features rearranged into something harder, more calculating. She straightened her spine and lifted her chin in defiance. "So now you're spying on me, going through my private messages." Her voice dripped with accusation. Hawthorne set the tablet down deliberately. "You left it on my desk, unlocked, with your affair on full display. Was it a mistake, Sterling? Or did you want me to see what you've been doing behind my back?" A sharp laugh escaped her. "Maybe I did. Maybe I'm tired of pretending that this," she gestured dismissively at their surroundings, "is enough. I built all of this from nothing. Everything we have, every dollar, every hour, counts. I earned it through hard work and smart decisions, not by throwing money around to impress whoever catches my eye." Sterling's eyes flashed dangerously. "Don't you dare act superior. I've spent 15 years watching you choose the safe path every single time, always talking about long-term stability when we could have been living. Lauren, don't. Hawthorne commanded, his voice cutting through her words like a blade. Don't say his name again in my house, your house. Sterling's laugh held no warmth. She ran a manicured finger along the edge of his mahogany desk. Lauren's wine cellar is worth more than everything in this room. Is that what matters to you now? Hawthorne's voice remained steady despite his growing disgust. It's not the price tag on everything. It's that I've wasted years settling for less than I deserve. Sterling grabbed the tablet and swiped through photos. Look at this yacht where Lauren took me last month. Look at the villa in Monaco. All while you were building your empire, one boring contract at a time, he muttered. Hawthorne stepped deliberately around the desk. The private schools for merit, the summer homes, the shopping trips you claimed were with your sisters. Sterling's perfectly painted lips curved into a cruel smile. Are those trips? Should I tell you what I was really doing? How Lauren would stop you? Hawthorne raised a hand. I don't need the details of how far you've fallen. Fallen? Sterling snapped. I've risen. Finally, I'm with someone who sees my worth. Someone who doesn't make me justify every purchase or question every expense. No, he countered. He just expects you to justify it in other ways, doesn't he? His words hit their mark. He saw Sterling flinch before recovering. You know nothing about Lauren. He's twice the man you'll ever be. Just then, the sound of the front door opening interrupted her tirade. Quick footsteps thundered up the stairs, accompanied by the jangle of jewelry and the rustle of designer clothing. Mom, Dad. Merritt's voice preceded her arrival as she appeared in the doorway, a vision of expensive taste that suddenly made sense to Hawthorne. The designer handbag she claimed was a gift from her college roommate, and the new car she said she'd bought with her part-time job savings, were, in fact, all Lauren's doing. No doubt Sterling's transformation was immediate and calculated. Her shoulders slumped. Her fierce expression melted into wounded vulnerability. Tears welled in her eyes, threatening to ruin her perfect mascara. Oh, sweetheart, she said in a trembling voice. I'm so glad you're here. Your father, he's being absolutely horrible. He went through my private messages and now refuses to forgive a tiny indiscretion. A tiny indiscretion. Hawthorne's laugh held no humor. Is that what we're calling months of lying, secret trips, and another man buying our daughter loyalty with luxury goods? Merritt's face flushed. What are you talking about? Don't play innocent, Merritt. That Gucci bag wasn't from your roommate, was it? Lauren has been buying your silence along with your mother's dignity. How dare you? Sterling moved to stand beside Merritt, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. See how cruel he is. How he twists everything. He's never understood what we deserve, Merritt. He's always held us back with his middle-class mentality. Merritt shrugged off her mother's arm, anger blazing in her eyes. Is that true, Dad? You went through Mom's private stuff. Are you attacking her for having successful friends? Successful friends. Hawthorne's voice cut like ice. Is that what your mother told you she was doing on those weekend trips? Making business connections? At least her friends know how to live. Merritt shot back. Do you know how embarrassing it is having you as a father? Everyone else's parents take them to Europe for spring break, drive luxury cars, and have summer homes in the Hamptons. But you lecture about budgets and investment portfolios. I taught you about money because I wanted you to understand its value. Hawthorne began, but Merritt cut him off with a bitter laugh. Value? You mean how to hoard it, how to count every penny while life passes you by. She brandished her phone like a weapon. My friend's dad buys them whatever they want. They don't make them work part-time or track their spending on budget apps. Hawthorne reached for his daughter's hand. Everything I've done. Merritt jerked away as if his touch burned her. Don't. Just don't. You're pathetic. You know that. Mom deserves someone who can give her the life she wants, and I deserve a better father. I've blocked you on everything. I don't ever want to see or hear you again. Sterling's triumphant smile was barely concealed by a mask of maternal concern. "Come on, sweetheart. We don't have to stay here. Lauren already offered us rooms at his estate while we sort things out." "Lauren's estate," Hawthorne repeated slowly. "So that's the plan. Moving in with your lover. And you're taking our daughter into that situation. Better his estate than this prison of mediocrity." Sterling spat. "My lawyer will contact yours tomorrow." She paused at the doorway as Merritt headed down the stairs. "I suppose you'll have to find one who'll work within your precious budget," she added, then stopped with one final twist of the knife. "Lauren was right about you all along. You're just not enough of a man to keep a woman like me fulfilled." Their footsteps faded down the stairs. The front door opened and closed. Through his study window, Hawthorne watched Sterling's car, one he had bought her for their last anniversary, pull out of the driveway and disappear into the gathering dusk. The silence that filled the house was different from the quiet that had greeted him earlier. It felt permanent, tainted with betrayal, and the death of 15 years of marriage. Hawthorne stood at his study window, watching the space where Sterling's car had vanished. His reflection was steady in the darkening glass as he turned back to his desk and saw the tablet Sterling had forgotten in her dramatic exit. One message notification flashed on the screen. "Lauren again. Did the little man finally discover our secret? Darling, don't worry. I've already instructed my staff to prepare your suite, the one overlooking the rose garden. Merritt will love the shopping in this neighborhood." Hawthorne's hand curled into a fist, but his face remained composed. He picked up his phone and scrolled through his contacts until he found the name he needed: Reeves and Associates, the city's most ruthless divorce attorneys. As he waited for the call to connect, he walked to the wall safe hidden behind an abstract painting Sterling had always hated. Inside lay documents chronicling every major financial decision of their marriage, including evidence of how Sterling had been spending his money these past months. "James Reeves speaking. Reeves, Hawthorne here. I need your services first thing tomorrow morning," he said. A pause. "Personal or business matter?" "Divorce." Hawthorne's voice was steel. "My wife's been having an affair with Lauren Delacroix." "Yes, that Lauren, the real estate magnate who's been in the society pages lately." Papers rustled in the background. "Tomorrow morning, we'll want to move quickly to protect your assets." Hawthorne continued, "I want everything documented. Every penny she spent meeting him, every gift she claimed came from business contacts, every luxury item our daughter suddenly acquired." "Understood. Fair warning. Delacroix usually retains Sophia Whittaker for his associates." Hawthorne moved to his computer and logged into his banking platform. Sterling was about to learn the difference between earned wealth and borrowed luxury. After ending the call, he began methodically documenting account numbers and transaction histories. His hand paused over the joint account he'd set up for Merritt's graduate school fund, the one she now thought was beneath her, since Lauren was offering a faster path to luxury. A familiar ping of an email notification drew his attention. Merritt's name appeared in his inbox. For a moment, hope flickered. Had she reconsidered? But the subject line extinguished the thought. Notice of withdrawal from university investment account. The email was cold and formal. Merritt was withdrawing from the investment program he'd set up to teach her about financial management. Her reason? Pursuing more immediate opportunities. No doubt, Lauren had promised her something flashier than quarterly dividend reports. Hawthorne leaned back in his chair, allowing himself a moment to feel the full weight of the evening's revelations. His wife and his daughter were seduced by the empty promise of instant gratification, both willing to throw away years of trust, love, and family bonds for the hollow allure of wealth without work. He straightened his resolve, hardening like concrete. Sterling wanted a divorce. She'd get one, but not on Lauren's terms. Not in a way that would let her walk away with enough to maintain the lifestyle she betrayed him for. He opened a new document and began typing assets to protect. Business holdings, investment portfolios, properties, excluding minimum requirements for spousal support and retirement accounts. Then, after a pause, he compiled evidence. Credit card statements showing hotel charges, air travel records, gift receipts, transfers, photos and messages from Sterling's tablet, witness statements from staff who covered for her absences. Sterling had always mocked his attention to detail, his careful record-keeping. So boring, so obsessive, she would say. Now those same meticulous habits would ensure she learned the true cost of her choices. His phone buzzed again with another message from Sterling. "Lauren, my lawyer will contact yours tomorrow. I expect you to be reasonable about this, Hawthorne. A quick, generous settlement will be better for everyone." He didn't respond. Let her imagine him broken, desperate to win her back. The reality would hit her soon enough. Rising from his desk, Hawthorne walked to the window again. The street outside was quiet and peaceful, but inside his mind, plans were already forming, not just for the divorce, but for rebuilding his personal life and his legacy. Something lasting and meaningful, something that would make Sterling's choice of Lauren's empty wealth over his solid foundation seem even more foolish with each passing year. A bitter smile crossed his face as he remembered her parting shot about him not being man enough. She had confused flash with substance, mistaking prudence for weakness. That mistake would cost her everything she'd taken for granted. His phone lit up with one final message from Merritt. "Mom says you'll try to cut off my credit cards. Just remember, Lauren says spite during divorce proceedings never looks good to a judge." Hawthorne deleted the message without responding. His daughter, like her mother, would soon learn that actions have real consequences, consequences that no amount of Lauren's money could smooth over. Then he reached for his phone one more time and dialed another number. "Dalton Hawthorne. Remember that charitable foundation we discussed? The one for supporting small business education. Let's move forward full speed. I want the paperwork ready by the end of the week. If Sterling and Merritt want to chase Lauren's millions, let them." Hawthorne would build something that lasted, something that would help others achieve what he had. Real success earned through work and wisdom, not bought with borrowed glamour. He could already imagine Sterling's reaction when she realized that the husband she discarded had no intention of funding her new lifestyle. When she discovered that her lover's promises meant living by his whims instead of controlling her own destiny. The sun had fully set now, leaving Hawthorne's study in shadows. But his path forward was clear. Sterling had chosen her course. Merritt had chosen her side. Now it was his turn to choose. And Hawthorne chose strength, dignity, and to let them go while he built something better from the ashes of their betrayal. The morning sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Lauren Mansion, casting long shadows across imported marble floors. Sterling stood before a gilded mirror in what Lauren called her wing of the house, though his frequent reminders of his generosity made it clear nothing here truly belonged to her. A uniformed maid appeared in the doorway. "Mr. Lauren requests your presence in the main dining room." Immediately, Sterling touched up her lipstick, the exact shade Lauren preferred. "Tell him I'll be right there," she said. The maid replied promptly, "Immediately, Mom." Her expression held a hint of pity. "And he's not pleased about the credit card statement." Sterling's hand froze midway to her face. Last week, a shopping trip, one she had taken to cheer up Merritt after another failed job interview, had cost far more than she'd intended. She had thought Lauren wouldn't notice a few $1,000s, not with his wealth. The dining room stretched before her like a battlefield as she entered. Lauren sat at the head of the massive table, various papers spread before him. His perfectly tailored suit and immaculate appearance contrasted sharply with the coldness in his eyes. "Ah, there you are," he said, holding up a credit card statement. "Care to explain this?" "Lauren, darling, $30,000, she exclaimed. He cut her off sharply. "In one day, at stores I specifically told you were beneath my status." Sterling moved to touch his shoulder, a gesture that usually softened him, but he shifted away. Merritt needed Merritt. Lauren laughed without warmth. "Your daughter's needs are not my concern. Or have you forgotten our arrangement?" Arrangement? Is that what you call it now? I left my husband for you. Sterling's voice sharpened. No, Lauren said as he stood, looking down at her. You left your husband for what you thought I could give you. There's a difference. He picked up another paper. Speaking of your ex-husband, have you seen this? He thrust a business magazine at her. Hawthorne's face stared back from the cover alongside the headline. From self-made to empire. Hawthorne Industries record-breaking quarter. Your ex-husband's company just acquired 3 major competitors. Lauren continued. His net worth has tripled since your departure. Interesting timing, wouldn't you say? Sterling scanned the article, her stomach churning at phrases like innovative leadership and strategic genius. A photo showed Hawthorne at a charity event, looking more polished than she'd ever seen him. Of course, Lauren's voice dripped with sarcasm. You prefer a man who knows how to spend money rather than make it. How's that working out for Merritt's credit card bills? Almost on cue, Sterling's phone buzzed with her daughter's familiar ringtone. Lauren snatched it before she could answer. Merritt, perfect timing, he announced as he activated the speakerphone. We were just discussing your mother's spending habits, Lauren said. Merritt's voice, carrying a note of desperation Sterling had never heard before, came through. I need to speak with Mom. My cards are all declined, and the landlord is threatening eviction. Lauren finished. Yes, I received his call this morning. Apparently, you're 3 months behind on rent for an apartment I generously provided. I can explain. Sterling protested. No need, Lauren replied coldly. Your shopping records explain everything. Papers rustled as he read. Designer boutiques, 5-star restaurants, spa treatments, living quite the lifestyle for someone with no income. But you said, I said, I would help you establish yourself. Sterling tried to object. Not fund an endless spending spree, Lauren interjected. Tell me, Merritt, what exactly have you done to earn any of this? Sterling, please. Merritt's voice trembled. Just following my mother's example, trading on looks and charm while contributing nothing of value, Lauren mocked. Merritt's voice cracked. I've been looking for work, have you? Lauren's tone dripped with mockery. Let's discuss these job searches of yours. According to my sources, you've turned down 3 entry-level positions because they were beneath you. Is that correct? Those jobs were insulting. Merritt protested. One was just a receptionist position. Yes, horrible and honest work, she added. Lauren exchanged a meaningful look with Sterling. Much better to rely on someone else's wealth, isn't it? Like mother, like daughter. Sterling's face flushed. That's not fair. When you pursued me, you said. I said many things. Lauren interrupted smoothly, most of which you chose to interpret as permanent promises rather than temporary arrangements. Merritt's voice grew desperate. But what about the startup capital you promised? You said you'd invest in my influencer brand. Lauren laughed sharply. Influencer brand? You mean those staged photos and borrowed outfits, pretending to live a lifestyle you can't afford? He shuffled through more papers. Your social media engagement has dropped 70% since the society pages started reporting on your mother's situation. Your situation? Sterling snapped. Instead of answering, Lauren pressed a button on his intercom. Adler, bring in today's papers. Moments later, his personal assistant appeared with a stack of society magazines. Lauren spread them across the table. Each cover was more damaging than the last. Lauren Delacroix, trading in for a younger model. One headline screamed. Sterling's fall from grace, from trophy-wifed to cautionary tale. Another read. Merritt, the failed social climber following in her mother's footsteps. You leaked these stories, Lauren stated softly. Sterling whispered, you wanted this to happen. I merely allowed the truth to surface. Lauren replied with a predatory smile. The public loves a good fall from grace story, almost as much as they love a redemption arc. He held up another magazine. This one shows Hawthorne at a business gala beside a striking woman you know as Wren, one of his board members. Lauren says, This is how you handle public relations. Your ex-husband's new relationship boosted his company's stock price by 15%. With a sneer, he added, "You prefer a man who knows how to spend money rather than make it." Sterling's voice cracked. "I gave up everything for you." "No, my dear, you gave up everything for designer clothes and luxury vacations. I merely provided them temporarily." Lauren then turned back to the phone. "Merritt, I suggest you start taking those entry-level positions seriously. Your mother's ability to help you will soon be very limited." "This isn't fair," Merritt whispered. "You promised us." "Life isn't fair, dear girl. That's a lesson your father tried to teach you. Isn't it?" Lauren's smile was cold. "Consider this your delayed education in reality." The line went dead as Lauren ended the call. Sterling's face paled. "The charity gala is tonight. Wear the black dress. The one that shows you understand your position." Lauren headed for the door, then paused. "Oh, and Sterling, about that new model I've been seeing in the papers. She's joining us for dinner next week. Do try to be accommodating." Merritt sat alone in her luxury apartment, surrounded by evidence of a lifestyle she could no longer maintain. Designer shopping bags, clothes with tags still attached, and an eviction notice on her coffee table from a signature piece that now screamed of hollow pretense. Her phone rang. Skylar's face lit up the screen. Once her closest friend, now a reminder of her crumbling social status. "Merritt, tell me you've seen the papers." Skylar's voice held concern mixed with barely concealed satisfaction. "I've been avoiding them." Merritt moved to her floor-to-ceiling windows. "Well, you can't avoid this. Lauren was at Emerson's party last night with that new model. Tatum. She's actually from an old money family. Lauren's just trying to make Mom jealous. It's a game," Skylar said. "Honey, the game's over. Lauren already moved Tatum into the East Wing, where your mom used to stay. And that's not even the biggest news. Your dad is practically society's new darling with that merger he just pulled off. And Ren. She's perfect for him. Old money. Self-made. Everything you're not." Merritt sank onto her couch. "Remember when you said Dad's business acumen would open all the right doors? Looks like he's just as good at closing them." A commotion from the main house drew her attention. Through the windows, she saw Lauren escorting Tatum down the grand staircase. Tatum wore Sterling's favorite necklace, the one Lauren had once claimed was on loan. A voice from the garden boomed, "Still here. I believe my instructions about using the service entrance were clear. We're leaving." Sterling grabbed her last box. "Just let me. No need for goodbyes." Lauren snapped. "Tatum's family is hosting brunch, and we're already late. Do close the gate on your way out." Merritt's chin rose in a final attempt at dignity. "Your father's foundation is hosting a seminar next week, Building Success from the Ground Up. Perhaps you should attend." A cold pause. "Perhaps you should call your father. I hear he's generous to those willing to work for their success." The line went dead. The next morning brought more evidence of their fallen status. Sterling stood in the main hall of Lauren Mansion one last time, watching staff remove her photos from the walls. Each empty space felt like another nail in the coffin of her ambitions. The movers were due at noon. "Adler, Mr. Delacroix expects the guest house cleared by this evening," came the curt message from Lauren's assistant. "Miss Tatum wants to convert it into a yoga studio." Merritt arrived as Sterling boxed up the last of her belongings, the few items that were truly hers. Standing in the doorway with a stack of magazines, Merritt spread them across a small table. Every cover celebrated Hawthorne's latest triumphs, the opening of his charitable foundation, and the success of his mentorship program. "Your father always knew how to build things that last," Sterling admitted hollowly. "Unlike us, chasing quick luxury." "Do you remember what you said that night in Dad's study about Lauren being twice the man you'd ever be?" Sterling whispered, staring at a photo of Hawthorne and Wren at a charity gala. They radiated genuine success, not borrowed glamour. I was wrong. A knock at the door interrupted them. Miss Sterling, Adler, came the assistant's formal tone. Mr. Delacroix requires the guest house keys. Also, these letters have arrived for you both. Inside the envelopes were identical letters. Dear Social Committee members, due to recent developments, your memberships at the Valley Hills Country Club have been revoked effective immediately. Regards, the board. Merritt laughed bitterly. Remember when you said Lauren's connections would open all the right doors? Looks like he's just as good at closing them. A commotion from the main house drew their eyes to Lauren, who was now seen escorting Tatum down the grand staircase. A voice from the garden announced, "Still here. I believe my instructions about using the service entrance were clear. We're leaving." Sterling grabbed her last box. "Just let me. No need for goodbyes." Lauren snapped, "Tatum's family is hosting brunch, and we're already late. Do close the gate on your way out." Merritt's chin rose in a final attempt at dignity. "Your father's foundation is hosting a seminar next week, Building Success from the Ground Up. Perhaps you should attend." A cold pause. "Perhaps you should call your father. I hear he's generous to those willing to work for their success." The line went dead. Later, as Sterling drove away in a modest sedan while Lauren claimed the luxury vehicles, Merritt's phone buzzed with a news alert. Hawthorne Industries announces record growth. CEO credits authentic values and sustainable success. In the background, a plaque read, "Success isn't owned. It's earned." Merritt whispered, "He tried to teach us that. About earning things, building real value." Sterling gripped the steering wheel. Her bare fingers showed the pale band where Lauren's gifts had once rested. Then Merritt's phone buzzed one last time with a message from Skylar. "Sorry, I have to block your number. Family says associating with you could harm our reputation. No hard feelings. It's just business." Merritt deleted the message and scrolled to her father's number, a reminder of everything they'd thrown away for Lauren's false promises. "He'll never take us back," she murmured. Hawthorne's face appeared in all those success photos, strong, dignified, unmoved by betrayal. "No," he thought, "and that's exactly why I succeeded where you failed." In the executive suite of Hawthorne Industries, the morning light gleamed on a testament to his rise. Standing by floor-to-ceiling windows, Hawthorne watched the city wake below. His empire had tripled in size since Sterling's departure. A knock at the door signaled his assistant's arrival. "Mr. Hawthorne, your daughter is here," the assistant announced. Hawthorne's expression remained neutral, though his shoulders tensed. Merritt hadn't attempted contact since that night 6 months ago, when she blocked his number and declared him dead to her. Merritt entered in her designer outfit, noticeably less pristine than in Lauren's days. She tried to mask it with careful accessories, but Hawthorne noted scuffed shoes and a slightly outdated bag. "Dad," she began with a tentative smile, "you look well. What brings you to my office?" He did not move to embrace her. "What brings you here?" he asked coolly. "Can a daughter visit her father? I've been seeing you in the news. The foundation, the mentorship program. You're doing amazing things." "Indeed," he replied, his voice measured. "Things you once called boring and beneath you." Merritt's smile wavered. "I was wrong about so many things." She stepped closer. "I've had time to think since everything with Lauren." "Yes, Lauren," Hawthorne said, turning to face her fully. "I heard he's engaged to someone more suitable to his social aspirations." Color flooded Merritt's cheeks. "That's ancient history. I'm focused on my future now." "Actually, that's partly why you're here," she said, pulling out a folder. "I have some business ideas I'd love to discuss, with your experience and your connections." "Stop," Hawthorne commanded quietly but firmly. "Let's be honest. Why are you really here?" "Dad, my credit cards are maxed out. Rent is overdue. The society circles that once welcomed me now pretend I don't exist." "How close am I?" he asked. Merritt's practiced composure cracked. "If you've been keeping tabs on me, you know how hard things have been. Mom made her choice, and you made yours." People make mistakes, Hawthorne said as he moved to his desk. We were wrong about Lauren. About everything. But we're still family. Isn't that something? Merritt pleaded. Family. Was I family when you blocked my number, sided with your mother's lies, and mocked my work ethic? His voice grew cold. You chose empty promises over earned success. Merritt's eyes filled with genuine tears. Please, Dad, I need help. Just a small loan, maybe an entry-level position here. The ones you once rejected as beneath you. He raised an eyebrow. The ones that didn't match your borrowed lifestyle. I've changed. I understand now what you tried to teach me about building real success, she said, gesturing at the office around them. Look at everything I built, he replied. I want to learn from you. Be part of this. His tone was measured but hard. Or are you here to test the waters as sent by your mother? No, Mom didn't send me. She doesn't even know I'm here, Merritt insisted. Then tell me, whose idea was it to play on family connections? Yours or your mother's? Hawthorne demanded, pressing a button. Adler, send in the surveillance photos. Moments later, his assistant appeared with a thick folder. Hawthorne spread the photos across his desk. Images of Sterling and Merritt at a cafe, huddled over papers, leaving the guest house, and making calls from a burner phone. 2 weeks of planning. Tell me, he said quietly, whose idea was it to manipulate me using family connections? Merritt's hands trembled. You've been watching us. I've been protecting my interests, he replied, selecting one photo of Merritt leaving a meeting with Sterling's lawyer. Just as I protected them when you contested the divorce settlement last month. That wasn't your mother's latest attempt to claim what she hadn't earned, Hawthorne continued, his voice hardening. And this performance you're giving now, it's all for nothing. The door opened again, and Wren entered with a tablet. Sorry to interrupt, but you need to see this. She handed Hawthorne the tablet, displaying text messages between Sterling and Merritt. Merritt. Dad's foundation is worth millions now. If I can get him to forgive us, maybe we can even rewrite his will. Sterling. Don't mention me until you're sure he's softening. Hawthorne turned the tablet so Merritt could see her own words. Still claiming your mother didn't send you. Merritt's face crumpled. You don't understand how desperate we are. Mom cut us off completely. We have nothing left. You have exactly what you chose, Hawthorne said, his voice steel. When you mocked my work ethic and chose Lauren's empty promises over real family bonds, you made your choice. Merritt's designer bag slid to the floor. People deserve second chances, she whispered. Second chances. Hawthorne raised an eyebrow. Like the chance I tried to give you that night, when I explained your mother's affair, and you blocked my number, declaring me dead to you. I was wrong, Merritt admitted softly. No, Hawthorne said, standing tall. You're not sorry for what you did. You're only sorry it didn't work out the way you planned. Wren moved to stand beside him, her presence a stark contrast to Merritt's desperation. Shall I have security escort you out? She asked. Wait, Merritt pleaded, pulling out papers. I have proof I've changed. Job applications, business plans. I'm trying to start over. Hawthorne scanned them briefly. Entry-level positions you once called beneath you. These are internet templates. What do you want from me? Merritt's voice cracked. To beg. To grovel. Fine, I'm sorry. We were wrong about Lauren. About everything. Please, Dad, help us. Hawthorne's voice was quiet yet firm. I tried to teach you the value of hard work and building real success. You didn't want my help then. You wanted Lauren's shortcuts. He shook his head. Lauren used you. You never cared about me. His words cut deep. You chose empty promises over earned success. The office door opened as Hawthorne's executive team began arriving. Please, Merritt tried one last time. Mom says we can still be a family. Family. Hawthorne's laugh was cold. Was I family when you flaunted your affair and declared me dead? You both chose Lauren's lifestyle over everything we built together. He straightened his tie. The people I help through my foundation want to earn their success, not steal it through manipulation and lies. As his team filed out, Hawthorne activated his phone. Sterling Merritt, consider this your final lesson in consequences. His tone was final. While you chase schemes and shortcuts, I'll be helping others build something real. Merritt, Dad, the foundation. All your wealth. It was supposed to be my inheritance, she cried. Inheritance, Hawthorne countered. You mean the wealth you mocked as mediocre. The business principles you dismissed as outdated. He gestured to the boardroom. This empire, which you rejected for Lauren's empty promises, will now help those who want to earn their success. Executives watched silently as Merritt's last attempt at dignity crumbled. Her designer clothes and borrowed confidence could hide nothing now. I made a mistake, she whispered, trying to grab his arm. He stepped away smoothly. We both made mistakes, but I can't help those who choose manipulation over hard work. Hawthorne straightened his tie. Watch me. On the phone, Sterling's voice rose. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Watching us suffer while you play the charitable hero. That's where you're wrong, Hawthorne said, pressing a button to display the foundation's mission statement. This isn't about enjoyment. It's about legacy. Everything you rejected will now help others build something meaningful. Wren approached with a tablet showing breaking news. Hawthorne Industries launches a billion-dollar educational initiative, building tomorrow's leaders today. She reminded him softly that the press conference started in 5 minutes. Merritt's eyes darted between the tablet and her father. All that money going to strangers instead of your own daughter. My daughter, Hawthorne said coolly, died the night you chose Lauren's lifestyle over family loyalty. Sterling's voice, now strained with genuine fear, asked, What are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to live like everyone else? Hawthorne moved toward the conference room door. Work hard. Build something real. Learn the lessons you refuse to learn from me. He paused. I suggest you start soon. I hear Lauren's wedding invitation list doesn't include previous arrangements. Merritt's face crumpled. You're really going through with this? Cutting us off completely? No, Hawthorne said with steel in his voice. You cut yourselves off that night in my study when you chose greed over family. Every decision since confirms it was the right choice. He pressed a button, ending Sterling's call. Merritt stood frozen, watching as her father addressed his executive team. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we announce the future of Hawthorne Industries? A genuine smile warmed his face. We have many lives to change. The team filed out, leaving Merritt alone in the empty boardroom. Through glass walls, she watched her father take the podium, flanked by his executives, as camera flashes captured his success. Hawthorne's voice resonated over the speakers. Real success isn't measured in quick gains or borrowed luxury. It's built through hard work, integrity, and vision. Today, Hawthorne Industries commits to helping the next generation build something lasting. Merritt turned away, unable to watch any longer. Her phone showed missed calls from Sterling, probably wondering if their scheme had worked. She ignored them, finally understanding what they had thrown away. In the lobby, Merritt passed a wall of awards and achievements they had once mocked as boring. Catching her reflection in the glass, she saw that her designer clothes couldn't hide the truth. They were exactly what Lauren had called them. Social climbers who bet everything on a shortcut and lost. Outside, the city skyline was dominated by Hawthorne Industries' new headquarters, a testament to earned success over borrowed glamour. Her Uber driver barely glanced at her, no longer recognizing the fallen society darling she once was. Hawthorne continued his speech, announcing programs to help others achieve what his family had rejected. His voice carried authority, the voice of a man who had lost nothing that mattered and had gained everything he earned. The cost of betrayal had finally been paid in full. Thanks to everyone who took the time to listen to today's stories. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share your thoughts on the events in the comments below. Take care.